Read all the stories about BYU sports no one else has heard. Go to KSLSports.com for exclusive columns by BYU insider Mitch Harper. That's KSLSports.com.
Welcome back. It is 1st and 12. Happy Sunday to you. Day after a big win for BYU, 38-31 in Arkansas at Fayetteville. That's where Mitch Harper is right now. I'm Alex Kirry. We are back in Salt Lake right here. And every week you can hear 1st and 12. We're breaking down everything for you across the conference. And it's just been so much fun. Mitch, we're only 3 weeks into this thing, and it just is – it's tons of fun for us to be able to jump into the day after the game, and not just the day after the game, but the day after the full conference slate. All brought to you by Macy's Grocery Stores. Macy's, get the freshest fruits and vegetables from local farms and your favorite local brands. Macy's, happy shopping. Our big 12 sound roundup. Did I get it all? Let's hit it, and let's start to listen to some of the biggest sound from the conference this weekend.
Big 12 Sound Roundup.
Check 1, 2.
The best bites, cheap shots, and excuses from Saturday's postgame news conferences.
Let's start with the first conference game. TCU and Houston. Horned Frogs get it done in Houston. What is it? Is it still Clutch City? Still H-Town? What's Paul Wall calling it these days?
You can't. Hey, listen. You can't do cross sports.
Rob the jewelry store and tell him make me a grill.
I just love the idea that, like, Houston comes in, and Dana Holgerson's got a lot of answering to do already. I don't know how long you get – when you're brand new in a conference, I don't know how long you give a guy because, you know, it's big conference, power football. But Dana Holgerson, that's a big contract that's hung around the neck of Houston. Chandler Morris, the quarterback for TCU, coming in, getting the win. They get a nice little 21-point victory there or a 19-point victory there in Houston. Here's what Chandler Morris had to say after the game about that game against the Cougs.
Obviously, we got to protect the football. I got to do a better job, but I mean, it's not going to be pretty on the road, whoever you're playing. And then obviously, it's a first conference game for them. So I mean, it's a big game. It's probably their biggest game in their entire program. So I mean, that was something coming in, and we just wanted to be the more excited team coming here. And I thought we did some really good things offensively, but we got to clean it up, and we got a chance to be really good.
I love it.
Biggest game ever against TCU?
You know, this is probably, kudos to them. Playing us was probably their biggest thing that's ever happened to them. He's like, dude, Chandler, settle down, kid. Like, this doesn't even crack the top 10 of best TCU teams that we've ever seen. So, like, I don't know, coming in and getting a win over Houston, this was the biggest program win for them, or program game for them. And, for us to hand it to them is I just thought that was kind of a funny rollout from Chandler Morris after they go. Now they're 2-1 on the season.
Yeah, it's if they would be different if maybe they were top 5, top 10 team. Maybe I could entertain that thought, but no, you've already got a loss.
Everybody trying to go full Coach Prime here. That's a big game for them. This is the biggest game they've ever had playing us.
I like it, though. Hey, keep hyping us up, and we'll be throwing down that sound here in the Sound Roundup. So keep giving us these gems every single week, please, everyone. Kansas State, Missouri, the Wildcats, they fall to Mizzou in a heartbreaking loss. That was a tough one for Kansas State, who I thought, alike Texas, was kind of pulling away as one of the favorites in this league.
Yeah, and I'm bummed for them just because I thought that maybe they'd be the ones that would kind of surpass Texas on that. And I think that I think eventually Kansas State will do what they did last year, kind of sort of hang back. People don't give them credit anyway, and it's because of games like that. I think they were a little bit of a bummer, but the biggest bummer all day yesterday. And I just couldn't wait. When I was finding this sound last night, Mitch, I was like, I can't wait for Mitch to hear this. Because Mike Gundy, now I thought maybe he would just be like, no, I'm not even going to talk to anybody. But he had to kind of, answer to everybody after the game. This is Mike Gundy after their loss to South Alabama, 33-7 at home.
First off, I tell you, we had a heck of a crowd out there. We came jogging out to start the game, and a packed house. And I feel bad for our fans, the way that we coached and played. And I apologize to them. Great crowd, great atmosphere. And we didn't do a very good job of coaching, and certainly didn't do a very good job of executing. And it's real. I'm looking at the sheet here just to double check. But so we lost the turnover battle. We had way too many penalties, and we couldn't rush the ball. if you take away the quarterback's draws, we didn't rush the ball well enough to amount to anything. But we've got to do a better job of protecting the quarterbacks and giving those guys a chance to function.
Mitch, you can't take away a quarterback's draws, okay? That's just going to embarrass him. And tell me if I'm wrong, he took a page out of the Kalani Sitake coach post-game. Just feel bad for our fans, came out. When there's a loss like that and he immediately starts apologizing to the fans who came out, that's a bad look for Mike Gundy. That's a guy who's got a ton of pride, and frankly, the last thing they need is that kind of heat in Stillwater because they are looking not very good so far this year.
They've never had a losing season under Gundy, but, man, when you have a game where you get wrecked by South Alabama, this might be the year where it happens. And, their Power 5 win was against ASU, and we'll get to them, I'm sure, next in the four-corner roundup, but they didn't look good again. So the body of work so far for Oklahoma State has not been pretty, and they still don't have a quarterback, and that's usually always Mike Gundy's bread and butter, where he adjusts to the strengths of a QB that he has. And, losing Spencer Sanders, who is just riding the pine at Ole Miss as the backup to Jackson Dart, that can't be sitting well right now. And there was a lot of questions about the culture of Oklahoma State's locker room and that program and the mass exodus, and it ramps up that conversation when you have terrible losses like this one.
Props to the backyard brawl W for the folks at West Virginia. The Mountaineers get the win at home. This is Neal Brown in the postgame talking about how big of a deal the crowd was and just kind of overall the atmosphere there. But there he's like, hey, but don't forget, though, we still have other games. Will you please come out to other ones?
We had some bad things happen to us in that football game. You lose your starting quarterback, who's really not only your starting quarterback, but he's really kind of the heart and soul of the football team. He's the high energy guy. He's the leader. He's got he's a guy that's easy to follow, and he goes down on the second drive. And playing at home in that type of atmosphere, I really thought, especially our defensive players, fed off that. And so I want to credit the crowd. And we play a game next week too, and so we'd love it for all come back and make it really hard on those guys from West Texas. But a huge win. I thought it was a team win. They call it the brawl for a reason. And that wasn't a thing of beauty. That wasn't like a classic. They're not going to talk about the beauty of that game for a long time. But regardless of what it was a win for West Virginia.
I really hope, Alex, that Brett Yormark eventually tells these Big 12 teams, hey, make your non-conference rivals a priority in scheduling. Make it happen. We'll be flexible because the backyard brawl needs to continue to happen. West Virginia Pitt, that's a great rivalry and a great win for West Virginia. We got to take another timeout. This show, First and 12, brought to you by Macy's Grocery Store. Get the freshest fruits and vegetables from local farms and your favorite local brands. Macy's. Happy shopping. Four Corners check-in. What's going on with the Utes, the Buffs, Coach Prime, Arizona, and Arizona State? We'll talk about that next here on First and 12. Mitch Harper, Alex Kirry, here on KSL News Radio and KSL Sports Zone.